Costa Georgiadis and welcome to Gardening Australia. Just kidding. I'm Adam Hills. Welcome to Spicks and Specs, the Oz Music Special. The music quiz show that returns so often, John Farnham now makes jokes about us. Joining me as always are our two team captains, the guy who's a long way from the top but further from the bottom than he used to be, Alan Bro, and the girl who once had Friday on her mind but is now more partial to a lazy Sunday afternoon, Miff Warher. Alan's first guest tonight is one of Australia's most talented singer-songwriters who has had 2 #1 singles, 3 #1 albums and won 9 ARIA Awards. Would you please welcome Missy Higgins? Alan's second team member is a stand-up comedian and triple gold Logie winner who says one of his favourite Australian artists is Missy Higgins. He's not actually booked on the show but heard she was on and turned up anyway. Please welcome Rove McManus. Miff's first guest tonight is a legend of the Oz music scene who has appeared on stage in We Will Rock You, on screen in the movie Chopper, and whose band Uncanny X-Men were named after the Marvel comics. He's our very own superhero. Please welcome Brian Mannix. Miff's final guest tonight is a comedian who once, for a joke, wrote in her bio that she ate bugs as a dare and secretly liked it, and is now sick of it being repeated wherever she goes. Please welcome full-time bug-eating weirdo, Nina Ayama. Tonight we are marking Oz Music Month by celebrating our homegrown heroes like John Farnham, Marsha Hines, Gautier and Olivia Newton-John. Of course, none of those people were actually born in Australia, so they've all been shipped to Manus Island.
I've just got this image of Olivia Newton-John roller skating around Manus Island.
Missy, Brian, we haven't seen you guys for ages. What have you been up to recently?
Recently, I went on tour with John Butler at the start of the year. We did a big tour. I had a baby.
As part of the tour?
Well, I had a baby just before the tour.
Right.
And then I took her on tour and didn't get any sleep.
Is that a good idea?
No,
Right.
no.
So what's on your rider now that you're touring, you know, with children?
Well, a bit less vodka, a bit less...
I would have said more.
More, yeah. Actually, to be honest, the alcohol's just changed. It's kind of more classy now. It's like wine instead of tequila.
Makes sense. Mine's all cruises, so...
Brian, has your backstage requirements changed over the years?
Oh, look, backstage at our gigs, there's just... I've never seen so many drugs in all my life.
Really?
I have never seen that much Viagra all stuck together.
Alan and Miff are going to choose one topic between them, but any team can answer the questions. And since it's our Oz Music Special, your choices tonight are Aussie music, Aussie music, Aussie music, or Fozzie music.
That is very good.
I have no idea what any of these are.
The first one is music from Australia. The other 3 are all puppets being operated.
Is that the guy that ate a bat?
Yeah.
Yes, Daryl Summers ate a bat. All right, should we just go with Australian music?
Yeah, why not?
OK, cool. Right now there's some Muppet nerd at home going, but what about the music of Fozzie Bear? All right, everyone on your buzzers, let's play Spicks and Specs. Your first question for 1 point. Who was the first Australian-born artist to win a Grammy and famously thanked God during her acceptance? Oh, yes?
Olivia Newton-John.
No, I'm going to read the rest of the question to you guys. Famously thanked God during her acceptance speech, saying, because she makes everything possible.
Miss Helen Reddy.
Helen Reddy it is. First point to
Unlike you, Brian, I went off too early.
For 2 points, I need the artist responsible for the first Indigenous language album to debut at #1 on the ARIA charts and the unusual way that artist played their guitar. Yes.
Gurumul.
Yes.
And left-handed? Like upside down?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was Gurumul and he played a right-handed guitar with his left hand upside down. For 3 points, name these 2 artists and for another point, what they have in common with this dessert. Yes.
The one on the left
Yes.
is Dame Nellie Melba.
Yes.
And the thing in the middle
Yes.
is the Peach Melba.
Yes.
And That's Courtney Barnett.
Yes.
And...
Hang on, hold on. I'll go to you if they don't get it.
He was in the middle of a sentence.
I think Alan's sentence had dot at the end of it.
What I was
Look at
trying to
Charles
do was
saying
say her name and then get some sort of inspiration from it.
I'm going to check with this side, yes?
Her Instagram handle is Courtney Melba because...
Her middle name is Melba.
There it is.
Got it. The social stuff.
I think we get...
You got 2 points.
We get 2 points.
2 points for Alan's team, 1 point to Miff's team. Dame Nellie Melba got the nickname Melba because she came from Melbourne.
Oh,
Never, I know. I only found that out this week. Thank God she didn't come from like Gippsland way. She could have been Dame Nellie Poowong.
Now, that's an embarrassing Instagram handle.
For 4 points. Have a look at these images from some modern musicals. I need the 4 Antipodean artists who wrote the music for each of them. Miff.
Top one is Eddie Perfect, and that is from Beetlejuice.
Uh-huh.
That one there is
Matilda,
Matilda,
Tim
which is
Tim Minchin.
Minchin.
Yes.
And the pink one is
Kate
Muriel's
Miller
wedding, Kate Miller Heidke.
Yes. And the bottom one on the right-hand side.
Chicago.
No. I'm going to throw it over.
Wentworth.
Ladies in Black, and it's Tim Finn.
Yes, it is. Ladies in Black, and it's Tim Finn. Well done, Al.
And said with the right accent as well.
Oh, thanks.
Finally, for 5 points. Have a listen to these 5 Australian covers of Aussie songs. Wait to the end. I need the original artist of each song.
What about me? It isn't fair. I've had enough. Now I want my share. God help me. I was only 19.
Yes, Alan.
OK, so the first one was...
Island Home.
Christine Anu.
Yes, but I need the original artist of each song because they're all cover versions.
Oh. Don't look at me like that.
OK, I won't look at you like that.
Don't know.
I'll look at you like this.
The second one was Moving Pictures.
Moving Pictures,
Yes.
saying What About Me? That was
Yeah.
the Shannon Knoll version. Yes, Alan.
The third one was Red Gum.
I Was Only 19 by The Herd. Yes.
And the ones after that are of great interest
I
to me,
don't
Rove.
have the originals for those.
No, sorry, we've got nothing.
Okay, you got 2. I'm going to throw them over.
First one, Neil Murray, Warumpi Band.
Warumpi Band sang My Island Home originally. Yes. There.
Easy Beats sang I'll Make You Happy.
Yes, correct. It was the Divinals doing that version, but the Easy Beat sang the original.
And
It's
the last...
Because I Love You.
Yeah, it's the Masters Apprentices.
Masters Apprentices, yes, well done.
Yeah.
3 points to this side, 2 points to Alan's side. Over the last few years, we sadly lost some members of the Spicks and Specks family, one of whom was the man who sang Because I Love You, Jim Keys. I mean, Jim was such a part of Australian rock and roll and such a part of Spicks and Specks as well. I'm assuming you've toured with Jim Keys throughout the years. Can you tell us anything about Jim Keys on TV that's appropriate?
Yes, I can. Well, I was a big fan of Jim Keys when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And Masters Apprentices. And then I got to do a gig in Warrnambool with Jim and with Russell Morris and Leo Sayer. And the guy had a Learjet from Essendon Airport. And so we're in the Learjet and there's Jim and Russell sitting there and me and Leo sitting here and we're having a drink and flying through the sky. And I just thought to myself, wow, if somebody had told me when I was 15 that I'm going to be in a Learjet with Jim Keys and Russell Morris and Leo Sayer, wow, what a day. I was just had to pinch myself. It was fantastic.
I mean, how often does anyone tell a story about taking a Learjet to Warrnambool?
Yeah, how long's the flight from Melbourne to Warrnambool?
Well, this is the beauty, because I lived just near Essendon Airport. So when we left Warrnambool, we flew home and I was sitting in my chair in my lounge room 25 minutes after we took off.
That is living your best life, right, Danny?
And look, last year we also sadly lost conductor, music educator and the founder of Victorian Opera, Richard Gill, who was a huge part of our show and a big believer also in music and education. In fact, the ARIA Music Teacher of the Year award was dedicated to Richard Gill this year, and I know you're an ambassador for that award. And I know that also music played a huge part in your education and schooling as well. How important do you think it is for kids to have that music knowledge early on?
Oh my gosh, so important. Yeah, we had a really great music program at my school, and I used to go into the music school, which was a separate building, every single chance I got, and they had these little soundproof booths with a little piano in them, and that's where I started writing songs, and I'd just pour my heart out every recess and lunch. I didn't have many friends, obviously, and I actually wrote the first song on my first album I wrote when I was 15 in year 10 for a class assignment, All for Believing.
Wow.
Yeah. And it won Triple J Unearthed a couple of years later too.
How did it go at school?
I think I got an A.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I did really
Just
well.
thinking, you know, might have got an F at school.
No, that would have been a better story.
At my boarding school, we had one soundproof room, and
Right.
the punk band that I was in used to rehearse in there, and we just thought we were great. And we'd go in there at lunchtime and recess because we didn't have any friends either, and write what we just thought were amazing songs. And we put on a gig at school. Now, this is a boarding school.
Yeah.
Like, you live there. And we put on this gig and no one turned up. 105 people essentially lived at the gig and no one came.
I'm interested to know what the name of your punk band was.
Abortion on Demand.
No.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's why no one turned up.
No, because... Wait a minute. So wait a minute. So at lunchtime, there's a sign saying, at lunchtime, abortions by demand.
No, it wasn't at lunchtime. We're not idiots. It was after school.
After school?
It was after school.
Did they know it was a band, though?
I don't... Well, actually, I
Did you
never
say
really thought of that.
Rock band.
Was it a
A
co-ed
little
school?
asterisk.
No, it wasn't a co-ed school. It was a
Okay,
boys-only
so
school.
nobody needed abortion.
No, I suppose no one did need abortion.
Effective, was it?
We're getting away from the point. We weren't doing abortion.
Anyway,
We were so shit.
Richard told you a story, though, that we ended up not having on the show. What was that about?
Richard and I shared a number of things in common, but one of them is that we've got the full Oxford English Dictionary. We were talking about that, and he said he was a real pedant about spelling. And he said he was somewhere on a regional tour with Victorian Opera, and he went into a fish and chip shop, and on the board, they had spelt snapper incorrectly with one P instead of two. And he said to the woman who ran the fish and chip shop, excuse me, you've spelt snapper incorrectly. And she said, why don't you off? And he said, I thought there was a fair point, and went and waited outside for my... I really like the idea that he did all he could, and then he left it with her.
Yes. For her to enjoy her snaper.
Well, the love for Richard Gill was evident in his last days last year when around 70 musicians, including members of the Sydney Symphony Orchestra, gathered in front of Richard's house and they played a selection of his favourite songs as he lay inside in bed, and this is what it looked like.
Look, I don't want to be that guy. As beautiful as that is, I hope that was his car that was parked there. Because you don't want to be that guy who's like, I'm so sorry. I'm really into this, but I've got to get to the shops. And then the kids, I've got to pick up the kids. I'll get an Uber.
All right, at the end of the first round, Alan, Missy, Rover on 7 points. Miff, Brian, Nina in front, 8 points. Teams have to identify the songs being played live in the studio. And in honour of Richard Gill, tonight, our songs will be played by the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Ben Northing. Good evening, all. Ben, we have mentioned Richard Gill, but how much did he mean to you and everyone here?
Well, he was one of a kind. He wasn't just a really funny man with a huge personality, but he was somebody who switched people onto music, and he did that a lot through this show, actually, and we wanted to say thank you, I'm sure, on behalf of Richard and his family, for all of the times that you had him on this show to be able to connect people with music, because he would have wanted to say, the world needs more music in it, Adam. And so, yeah, we miss Richard, and we're thrilled to be here to honour him today.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It's time to play your first song. Everyone, hands on your buzzers. Song 1, please.
Hell by AC/DC?
Yes, it's High Road to Hell. Nina, nice work. Yeah. All right, song 2, please. Yes.
Cheap wine and a 3-day. Listen, you played the oboe.
I used to play the oboe in middle school, yeah. I just joined the school and they just said, we need you to play the only instrument that we're missing in the orchestra, and it was the oboe, so I just kind of got roped into it. But nothing wrong about the oboe, but I sounded like a dying duck.
Is it kind of like riding a bike? Could you just pick that oboe up and just be back to sounding like a dead duck again?
I also I like the bravery of just arriving at a school and going, yeah, I'll do the oboe. That's going to make me popular.
Yeah, what's the least sexiest instrument you have? I'll take it. Come on. All right, no. Show of hands. Who gets the most in the group? Second violin, come on.
All right, let's have the next song, please.
Is it one of those girl groups from the 90s?
Yes.
Girlfriend.
It is Girlfriend. What? But I need the name of the song.
I can see the clip.
Yep.
Take it from me.
Yes!
It's in the muscle memory there.
That's it.
Final song, please. Dance it out, dance it out.
You just keep going. Vibe. Gotta be the hardest line.
Power and the Passion.
It was Power and the Passion by Midnight Oil. Well done, Miff. Again, just dance it out. When in
Sweating.
doubt.
Dancing.
Would you please thank Ben Northey and the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra? Thank you all. All right, at the end of the second round, Alan, Missy Rover on 8 points, Miff, Brian, Nina in front, 11 points. Teams have to match 3 Australian musicians to a story about them. And tonight, those musicians are with us in the studio. Miff, your team is first. Your musicians are ARIA-nominated Aussie blues star Ash Grunwald. The winner of 2 Triple J National Indigenous Music Awards, who this year released her debut album Better in Black, Thelma Plum. Australian conductor, musician and arranger, Ben Northey. You have to match them with one of these 3 stories. Here is your first story. Just before meeting Paul Kelly, this person texted their friend to say how nervous they were, only to realise they had sent the text to Paul Kelly himself. This person was once playing so loudly it prevented the legendary Ray Charles from performing on an adjacent stage.
Oh, you don't want to be that, do you?
Ray had to wait until they finished their set. And the third story, this person was involved in a party on tour in Adelaide that caused the swimming pool of a luxurious hotel in the city to be closed for a week.
We all know what happened there. That's not good.
And let's be honest, there's only one luxurious hotel in Adelaide, so we know which one it is. All right, which story matches which musician?
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a question for you, Benjamin. How raucous are orchestras?
Are they potentially a orchestra? Look, I committed to the bit. Give me that. Okay.
You went all the way.
Whew, I'm exhausted.
In answer to your question, Miff, I would say that, yes, people who think that rock and rollers go hard on the road have never toured with an orchestra.
I just want to know why specifically it was closed for maintenance, the pool.
Can I answer this question?
Yes, you can.
The orchestra left Beethoven's second movement in the shallow end.
I've got a question for Thelma. Have you worked with some of your musical heroes?
Yes, I have. The answer is yes. I don't know why I'm being so... Yes, I have.
I know that Paul McCartney is on your latest album.
He is.
Oh.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, tell that.
very
It's
delayed.
amazing.
It is very good. It is cool.
Did that make you nervous?
Yes, it did. It made me very nervous.
Nervous enough to win a pool, perhaps? I like where you're going, Detective Warhurst.
All right, I reckon that Thelma worked with Paul Kelly
The text with Paul
on
Kelly.
her album.
OK, so Thelma, would you like to move behind that podium?
Well, yes, I would.
OK.
See, Ash is the blues man.
Yep.
So is Ray Charles. So I'm going for Ray Charles. It's Ash.
You reckon it's Ash?
Yeah.
All right, Nina reckons it's Ash. All right, we'll go with that.
Interesting
So
choice.
Ben and his mates went down to the pool and trashed the joint. TV out the window, the whole thing.
I reckon.
All right, so is that your final
Are
decision?
you guys happy with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
stick with that.
Could each artist stand behind the icon that represents their actual story, please? Yes!
Well done.
I have a question. How come you had Paul Kelly's number if you hadn't met him yet?
You wanted to know how to make gravy.
No.
My point of contact.
I did obtain it legally. He gave it to me because we were going to write together that day.
Yes.
Bit of a come down from Paul McCartney, isn't it?
Not for me, though. I grew, Paul Kelly was my everything growing up, and so I was just, very, very nervous. And
What was the actual text?
my friend had just left, and I went to text her, and I was like, OMFG, I'm going to vomit, but it auto-corrected to omit. And I answers the door, and he's like, oh, are you feeling okay? And I was like, I'm fine, what do you mean? The reason that I was most upset is because, you know, he's my idol, and I was like, I want him to think I'm a poet like him, but instead I'm like this stupid millennial that's like, OMFG.
And she can't spell vomit?
No, I can't.
Ash, where were you playing that drowned out Ray Charles?
That was actually here in Melbourne at the Melbourne Blues Fest in the early noughties, and I was just one-man band, so I was really trying to make a lot of noise, and I thought we were playing at the same time, but he never really started, but that whole time he was saying, get that guy turned down or I'm not going on. No. And so I, like, held the whole thing up whilst thinking I was a lord there, just doing the best I could. I was kind of, like, mortified afterwards, but then I sort of got into it, and I was like, Ray was a little intimidated, you know.
Man, you would have been so intimidated from that, you probably felt like you wanted to omit.
And finally, I'm assuming we've all got questions for Ben.
Yeah.
I think you're all disgusting, I just wanted to say.
What happened, Ben?
All right. Well, it was back in the year 2000. I was playing in the orchestra for a show called The Ultimate Rock Symphony, which had Alice Cooper and Roger Daltrey and Billy Thorpe and a whole cast of rock legends in it. And we all had a big party on the rooftop pool. And at one point there were many musical instruments in the pool being played, trumpets and trombones. Things got pretty wild.
Oh, wow.
But it was closed because there was some broken glass at the bottom of the pool. So that was a reasonably unlikely orchestra tour story. But a more unlikely story was that I had a tour romance on that tour. And the unlikely part of that, that's not the unlikely part. The unlikely part of that is that we're still together 19 years later. Thank you.
Trashed the joint and got the girl. That's right. Rock on.
Would you please thank Thelma Plum, Ash Grunwald and Ben Northey? Alan, your musicians are a young Australian singer, songwriter, producer and drummer who just released her debut studio album About Us, G-Flip.
Yeah.
An opera singer turned cabaret star who created the new Australian opera Lorelei last year, Ali McGregor. And country singer, songwriter and radio host Melinda Schneider.
Yeah.
You have to match them to one of these three stories. First story is this. While making out with someone they just met after a gig in San Francisco, this person had their hair catch fire from a candle and almost got smacked in the face as the date tried to put out the fire. Second story. This person was invited to the Playboy Mansion in Los Angeles and was asked by Hugh Hefner, would you like to see my big organ? And by big organ, he actually meant large musical instruments. And number three, while playing a music festival, this person was asked by a drunken fan to sign his private parts and quickly came up with an excuse not to. Do you know what? They're all Brian. Can you match the story to the musician, please?
So we've got two of these stories take place in the States.
Yes, so G-Flip, you were drumming with a band that went on an American tour, didn't you?
Yes, I've done that.
Okay,
Yes.
right.
Is the Playboy Mansion, do they still do the regular parties? I heard they've kind of... I think there was...
Isn't he dead?
Well, yeah, but I think...
There's no better reason for normal parties to not happen than the host is
the guy,
dead.
he's not there anymore.
But he's still in the spa pool. That's how they're keeping it. It's just at a perfect temperature where he's just completely preserved.
Weekend
and people
at
get in and they go,
Bernie's.
"Oh, move over, Hugh."
Just Weekend at Bernie's, so just floating around.
This was an interaction with Hugh Hefner.
Yes.
So that was a while ago. So I think the Hugh Hefner has to be either Melinda or Ali, because I think G-Flip is too young. How long ago did he die?
2017 he died. Should have seen what they did on the street out the front of his house.
So let's get back on track.
The same guy's car was parked there. It was so awkward.
We've got an interaction with Hugh Hefner.
Yes.
We've got someone asking someone to sign their private parts.
Yes, which could be any of them. The cabaret mob, you know what they're like. They are out there. I want to hone in on the dates where someone's hair caught fire.
Yeah.
Is anyone single in the group? Hands up who is single. Is anyone single? No, OK. OK, I'm out. Well, I got another one. Hands up, who's been to the Playboy Mansion?
So, I'm imagining someone with long hair's hair caught on fire.
I think that was G-Flip.
Yep.
Sure. Okay.
Do you want to move G-Flip behind the wig?
Yeah, let's do that for now.
As a
Let's do-
reminder?
yes,
okay.
could you- yes, great.
Okay.
Now, I presume the banana and the...
And that happened at a music festival.
I think it's Melinda.
I think it is too.
Country music fans are bonkers.
Are country music fans bonkers, Melinda?
They can be after a few Bundys, yeah.
I think Melinda has to stand behind that banana.
I'd love to.
So we're saying Ali has been to the Playboy Mansion.
Swapping.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Would each musician please stand behind the correct thing that represents their story?
Ali McGregor. Okay. I've got to hear this story. The Playboy Mansion, Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, so I was invited to go and sing with the Pasadena Pops in LA, and Michael Feinstein, the artistic director.
Yes.
We had a dinner. He invited Gene Kelly's widow, Patricia, along, and she in turn invited us to the Playboy Mansion, and we had this weirdly intimate evening where we watched film noir with Hair Finney's robe and 3 of his girlfriends, and Gene Kelly's widow, and the man who created Baywatch. And we watched a movie and ate popcorn, and then he led us around and showed us his massive organ, which was a church organ next to the film room, of course. And it was a really odd night. We had a photo with him. And...
Did you? Did you see the infamous grotto?
We went in the grotto, and the grotto's the best. It's like, you know, in the 70s when you went to the cool friend who had a pool's house and they had, like, all the kind of brown and orange towels and all the sun cream. It looked like something from the 70s.
I hear
like
those
your
towels
pool
were
friends.
originally white.
Is it not also true that a couple of days later you took your daughter to the Playboy Mansion to see Hugh Hefner's private zoo?
Yes, she was 2.
I mean, what kind of parents? Who would take their children to the Playboy Mansion? For those of you playing at home, yes, Ali and I are married, and we did take our daughter to the Playboy Mansion when she was 2. And the last thing I said to her as she left was, I never want to see you in this place ever again. And I said that to our daughter as well. Does anyone have questions for G-Flip?
Yeah, tell us the story. So,
It was a
and it was your hair that caught fire?
Yeah. This side. The shorter side.
So was it recent?
No, it wasn't. I just haven't cut my hair in a very long time.
How quickly did it go up? Hair is surprisingly flammable.
Well, I was actually occupied at the time.
Nice.
It was a very hot patch.
Apparently so.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember seeing a light in the corner of my eye. And the girl I was kissing screamed, and then she put it out with her forearm.
So when she screamed, were you like, I am doing well tonight?
Now, Melinda.
Cool story.
Yes, Alan.
So many questions. I think
I
you
just
know what
love
all of them are.
I was at the Denny Ute Muster. And
Here we go. Here we go.
anything happens at Denny.
The defence rests, Your Honour.
The guy came up to me very drunk at the merch table afterwards where I was signing and said, can you sign my penis, please? And I said, I'm terribly sorry, sir. Schneider's a very long name. The poor guy was so dejected. He walked away really dejected. He must have felt about that big. Terrible.
Would you please thank Ali McGregor, G-Flip and Melinda Schneider? After that round, Alan, Missy, Rover on 11 points. Miff, Brian, Nina are 14 points. Our next game tonight is called Never Tell Us Apart. Teams have to identify 2 classic Aussie songs being played at the same time. To help you out as well, though, the song titles rhyme with each other. So, for example, it could be Let It Be and Lean On Me. Red Right Hand, Great Southern Land. Some guys have all the luck. Too drunk to... You get where I'm heading. You need to name both songs to get a point. And this is for both teams. So everyone hands on buzzers.
OK.
Here is your first mix. Oh, yes.
Never Miss Your Water
till it's dry.
Never Miss Your Water.
Yes.
By Diesel or Johnny Diesel or...
Yep.
No, the other one.
Never
And
miss...
Tucker's Daughter by Ian Moss.
Oh.
Yes, Never Miss Your Water and Tucker's Daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, my...
Oh, darn.
Yo!
Just woke up.
They sounded like this. This was the first one. Never Miss Your Water by Diesel. And Tucker's Daughter by Ian Moss.
I like that one.
Yeah.
All right, here's your second mix. Teams and buzzers.
For my people in the front. In the nosebleed section. Hilltop, hoods up, up in this bitch. And we the punk leaders, punks you can't beat us. We pump the pump leaders, we jump leaders up. Jump with us, down the front, give us a play. Your flavor, can't get drunk with us. No, I run from the bus, I keep suffering. But the lights in the dust, you keep...
Oh, yes.
Nosebleed Section
Yeah.
by Hilltop Hoods.
And that was Renee Gayer. Heading in the right direction.
Oh, let's have a listen back. It was Hilltop Hood's Nosebleed Section, correct? And Renee Gayer heading in the right direction. Well done, Miff. All right, here's your next mix. Yes.
Boney Maroney by Hush.
Uh-huh.
And the other one was Spiderbait. Don't you want to be personality?
Keep dancing.
Okay, remembering the hint that it rhymes with Boney Maroney.
Pony. My
I mean, you're very close, but I can't give you My Little Pony.
It's something pony. Buy me a pony.
Let's have a listen back. It was Boney Maroney by Hush. And Buy Me a Pony by Spiderbait. Well done.
Right.
Here's your next mix. Yes, go.
She's so fine.
Uh-huh.
And the other one
And
was...
the Blue Sky Mine.
Let's have a listen to the two of them. Easy Beats, She's So Fine. Midnight Oil, Blue Sky Mine. And here is your final mix. Oh, whoa. Yeah, go on.
Angus and Julia Stone, Big Jet Plane.
Mm-hmm.
And Cattle and Cane.
Oh, let's have a listen back. Go-Betweens, Cattle and Cane. Angus and Julia Stone, Big Jet Plane, yes. Next team on fire. Nina, Brian, Miff, that was amazing. 4 out of the 5 you guys identified then, which means at the end of that round, Alan, Missy, Rover on 12 points, Miff, Brian, Nina in front, 18 points. Round 5 tonight is called Story of My Life. One very special guest is going to read excerpts from a famous musical autobiography. Teams have to identify the author. Now, if you guess the author after the first excerpt, you get 3 points. After the second one, you get 2. If it takes you 3 goes, you only get 1 point. To read for us tonight, would you please welcome bon vivant, raconteur and all-round faux pas, Sir Robert Franklin. The first book is for Alan's team. Sir Robert, take it away.
That night, the TV people put me up in a beautiful hotel. The first time in my life I'd experienced such luxury. But I knew that for 5 days, I wasn't allowed to tell anyone. No one in history had been signed up live on air on New Faces.
Signed up live on air on what?
On New Faces. New Faces was basically a talent show, wasn't it? Where you saw new performers.
Yes.
Yes.
And Bert Newton hosted it.
Could it be John Farnham?
was probably Johnny Farnham back then.
Oh, yeah, Johnny Farnham.
I feel like Olivia Newton-John maybe came through New Faces as well.
Do they both have biographies out? Do we know?
Oh, yeah, John Farnham puts out a different biography every year.
Yeah.
We're going to go with...
John Farnham.
Oh! We're going with John Farnham.
It is not John Farnham.
Okay. Keep going.
All right, so Robert, could you read the next excerpt, please?
We were out shopping in Toys R Us for the kids one day, and she dashed up to an aisle full of Barbie dolls. "This is what I want our wedding to be like," she screamed, reaching for a Barbie and Ken horse and carriage set.
No. This is tough.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Well, here we go.
Now I want to say, was it Patty Newton? Because Bert met her on New Faces when he was hosting. It was like a royal wedding in this country when it happened. It was massive.
Are you going to go with Patty Newton?
Okay, say Patty Newton.
It's not Patty Newton. So, Robert, can you read the final excerpt, please?
No one took me seriously. They called me the singing abdominal. Then the doll came out, and what little credibility I had was shot to pieces. It didn't help that on the back of the box it said, "Not suitable for children under 36 months due to small parts."
Well, it certainly wasn't Brian Mannix.
So I still think it's Patty Newton. But I think I know who it is.
Oh,
The
yes,
abs.
please.
The
Yeah,
abs.
I
There's only
think-
one guy who could have abs like that.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
going to
look.
count to three and I want you all to say it together.
Okay.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Peter Andre.
Yes, it's Peter Andre. In fact, it's not just Peter Andre, it is this book, the Peter Andre book, All About Us, My Story.
Oh.
Here's an amazing fact. Peter Andre has actually released 3 books, and from what I've told, has even read one of them.
Wow.
I've heard a weird fact about Peter Andre is that he doesn't wear fake tan. He just bathes in a bath of Coke, like Coca-Cola.
What?
And then he comes out and he's got like that orange glow.
It's the real thing.
Yeah.
I love things like that because the big question always with that is, how do you find that out? Like, how do you accidentally sit in Coke and get up and go, "This is amazing"? And does the Diet Coke one make you look tanned and slimmer?
And at least now we know Peter Andre definitely not made of Mentos. All right, Myth, here is your book. So, Robert, would you please read the first excerpt of this musical autobiography?
Of course, taking one's clothes off in front of a group of relative strangers is not the easiest thing I've ever done. It was such fun finding all the great locations to get the best and coolest shots that we could. And I found the nudity surprisingly and wonderfully liberating.
Patty Newton.
Any ideas? Any ideas?
Nude Australian musician.
Danny Minogue?
Sorry?
Danny Minogue.
Is that your guess? Or from nude Australian musician?
Well,
You've
she
gone
did
with...
the penthouse thing.
Do you want to say Danny Minogue as your first guess?
Danny Minogue.
Danny Minogue!
I'm worried what you're reaching for under the desk.
Just the news, I don't know.
Let me tell you what I think happened here. I think the producers of this show went, what's going to be an obscure part of the book that won't give away who she is? We're just going to mention nude. No one will get it from that. And then they forgot that Brian Mannix was on the panel and you just went, "Oh, nude, yep, Danny Minogue." Not only that, you named the magazine.
Had a blue cover. It was a terrific shoot. She came out really well. Well done, Danny.
Oh, no.
Can do another one.
Now, look, while we are talking about books, Rove, you and Brian do have something in common. Brian, you recently released your autobiography called 50 Years.
Yep.
Rove, you released your autobiography called Disgusting McGrossface.
I did, indeed.
I'm assuming it was an autobiography. I've not read it.
No, I have 2 children's books. One is called Disgusting but Grossface. The other is music-based. He's a performing lobster boy called Rocky Lobster. And I did the drawings for that as well.
Wow. Did you?
Yeah. I wrote it and done the pictures. And there is a centrefold. Yeah. Brian, you'll be pleased.
Oh, wow. I think I've also got Brian's book down here as well. Brian Mannix, 50
That's
years.
a lot thicker.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'd do some pictures in that too.
Wow, some great pictures in it as
Is
well.
that a sentence?
Oh, terrific. And I found the nudity totally liberating.
So after that round, Alan, Missy, Rover on 13 points. Smith, Brian, Nina still in front, 21 points. A well-known song is going to be performed using the words from an unrelated text. Teams have to identify the song. Missy, you're going to be singing for Alan and Rove, and you're going to be getting your lyrics from the Australian Constitution, edition 14, by the Commonwealth of Australia.
It's a great edition.
The pocket edition.
The pocket edition,
nonetheless.
exactly.
They fixed
Handy.
a lot of the problems from the 13th edition.
Missy, don't show your teammates your songs. Ladies and gentlemen, Missy Higgins.
Put it there.
Do this, Padre. Here we go. Woo! We love you, Missy Higgins. Woo! That's nice.
Song 1, please, Missy.
Whereas the people of New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Queensland and Tasmania, humbly relying on the blessing of Almighty God, have agreed to unite in one indissoluble federal commonwealth.
Yes.
I Got You by Spladine.
Yes, it's I Got You by
Yeah.
I'm culturally obliged to get that right.
Song 2, please, Missy.
The executive power of the Commonwealth is vested in the Queen and is exercisable by the Governor-General as the Queen's representative and extends to the execution and maintenance of this Constitution and the Commonwealth.
Yes.
Leaps and Bounds by Paul Kelly.
Leaps and Bounds by Paul Kelly, correct.
Great. Beautifully done.
Yeah,
I was trying to do the beats in between, like...
Final song, please, Missy.
After uniform duties of customs have been imposed, a state levy on imports or exports, or on goods passing into or out of the state, such changes as may be necessary for executing the inspection laws of the state, but the net produce of all charges so levied shall be for the use of the Commonwealth, and any such inspection laws may be annulled by the Parliament of the Commonwealth.
There you go.
Yes. Yes.
Torn by Natalie Imbruglia.
Torn by Natalie Imbruglia. 3 points out of 3. Ladies and gentlemen, Missy Higgins.
I thought they'd give you one. Beautifully done.
Beautiful
Oh,
work.
yeah, right. Brian, you'll be singing for Miff and Nina, and you'll be taking your lyrics from Australian Heritage Cooking for the Microwave by Marie McDonald. Those are your songs. There's your books. Don't show your teammates. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Maddox.
Here we go. Brian, also, if you can't reach the microphone, just stand on the book.
Yes, as we speak, our boys are storming the beaches of Normandy. We're giving Jerry a right pounding. There we go. Now turn the meatballs over. Recover, dish and cook. For 2 minutes, set on high. The drain off any fat. Stir together flour and beef stock to make a smooth liquid. Stir in tomato paste and pour the mixture over top of meatballs. Recover, dish and cook on high. Meatball 5 minutes, stirring occasionally.
That is Evie, part 1 by Stevie Wright. Yeah, well done. Right, second song, please.
It's a big book.
Yeah. OK, song 2, please, Brian.
Rather. Always keep back a few odd jars from the bottle collection, just in case the urge to preserve overcomes you. Don't be too ambitious, just settle for a small operation if you're not a regular preserver. 'Cause you'll need to sterilize all jars and lids used for preserves Boil the jars and lids. Completely immersed in water. In a large pan on top of the stove. For 15 minutes, then remove with tongs.
Look, I don't know what the song is, but I've learnt a lot about the
Miff and Nina, any idea?
Nah, no idea.
That was Evie Part 2.
Oh!
All right, Brian, final song, please.
Take it slowly if you are a new microwave owner. Don't be pressured by the family to cook the whole evening meal by microwave. The day the oven arrives, it would almost certainly be a disaster. Start by cooking only one part of the meal, save the vegetables and gradually build up the menu. If you wish, having everything come together at the right time takes a little practice. But before too long, you'll be organising this, not giving it a second thought. Not all foods respond as well as you.
Yes.
Rio by Peter Allen.
When My Baby Goes to Rio by Peter Allen, correct! 2 out of 3.
Well done. Sorry I didn't get over that.
That's all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Mannix.
No.
All right. At the end of that round, the scores are Alan, Missy, Rove on 16 points. Miff, Brian, Nina, 23 points. 1 point for a correct answer, 1 point off for a wrong answer. Teams, hands on your buzzers. Your questions start now. Identical twins Jess and Lisa Origliasso. Yes.
The Veronicas.
The Veronicas. Which 60s rock band had the signature song The Loved Ones? Yes.
The Loved Ones.
The Loved Ones, correct. Which musician did Ron Casey punch live on Ray Martin's Midday Show?
Normie Rowe.
Normie Rowe, correct.
Ooh la la.
Have a listen to this. Tell us the song.
A letter to you. It's the Whitlams,
Yep.
and it's
No thing for happiness.
no aphrodisiac.
No aphrodisiac, correct. Which pop superstar launched her career as a mechanic named Charlene? Yes.
Our cousin Kylie Minogue.
Kylie Minogue. Held in the late 60s and early 70s, the rock band competition Battle of the Sounds was sponsored by what confectionery company?
Hoadley's.
Hoadley's, correct.
Was anybody else going to get that?
The 2018 release Love Monster was the debut album for which artist? Yes.
Amy Shark.
Amy Shark. Do. The punk classic My Pal was the debut single
God.
for 4 teenagers who call themselves God. Psychedelic rock act Tame Impala hails from which city? Yes.
Perth.
Perth, correct. Which Aussie and famous husband has won the Grammy for Best Male Country Vocal?
Keith Urban.
Keith Urban, 4 times.
Husband.
Starring Jessica Mauboy and Deborah Mailman, which film?
The Sapphires?
Yes, The Sapphires.
Well done.
Which 90s band is named after the founding father of Springfield in The Simpsons?
I missed the question.
Jebediah.
Jebediah is the correct answer. And your final question. AFL champion Paul Kelly also shares his name with which Australian singer-songwriter? Yes.
Missy Higgins. Why no? Paul Kelly.
Paul Kelly is the correct answer. That's what I was looking for.
Well done.
At the end of the show, the scores are Alan, Missy, Rogue, 22 points. Miff, Brian, Nina won the day, 30 points. Would you please thank our guests, Missy Higgins, Rogue McManus, Brian Mannix and Nina Ayala. And of course, our 2 team captains, Alan Bro and Miff Warhurst. Tonight, we'd like to close our show with a tribute to 2 very special members of the Spicks and Specks family, Jim Keys and Richard Gill, as Missy Higgins and the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra combine to perform the Masters Apprentices song, Because I Love You. Thanks for watching the Spicks and Specks Oz Music Special. My name's Adam Hills. Good night, Australia.
It's because I love you, not because we're far apart. It's because I love you, and because you're near my heart. It's because I miss you, oh, how long it seems to be. It's because I miss you, thoughts of you come back to me. Once we walked together from the field up to the hill, promised love forever. I remember that day still. It's because I love you, I'll come home to you one day. It's because I love you, in my thoughts you'll always stay.